big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time Show. Here giving you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time, and it's time to talk about Knicks loss. The Knicks lose to the Celtics 117 to 119, and we're gonna talk about it all, guys. The good, the bad, and the ugly. This is a very, very interesting game that I can't really wait to dive into. I really can't. But before we dive into it, I'm gonna introduce you to my guy. It's the Latin assassin, Lee Escobedo. What's going on, Lee?
JLS, we have gotten to the point in its Twitter where we were saying, why didn't DeLon Wright play? That is a that's a point in the season I never thought we would get to. Yet here we are with 4 games left, and it's a Boston Celtics, and people are blaming the loss on DeLon Wright not playing instead of Campaign or Landry Shamet is crazy.
Wait, is that what's happening? I'm glad. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Multiple followers of mine, people I actually follow me back, were saying, what happened to DeLon Wright? Why didn't DeLon Wright play? Payne should never be in. It should be DeLon Wright. Where's DeLon Wright?
Okay.
Staggering.
Okay. Bruh. All right. I didn't think we was gonna start there. You kind of threw me off.
I was going through Twitter, just kind of seeing how people were reacting, get a temperature of the fan base, and I saw 4 or 5 posts like that, and I was like, wow.
Okay.
All right.
Well, he wasn't even on my topic list today, but he's leapfrogged. He's leapfrogged overtimes, blunders, Jason Tatum, Mitch Robinson, Carl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson's return. He leapfrogged all that. That's
DeLon Wright. Here we are.
DeLon Wright. We're starting off this program with the 15th man, DeLon Wright. Cool. All right. We're gonna leave that for later.
Yeah. We never had to address that actually.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm glad. But oh man. Woo. All right, let's talk about this game though. Like, Knicks lose this game in overtime. First of all, I want to say this. When I looked at this game on the schedule, Knicks versus Celtics, considering where the Knicks are, where the Celtics are, where the NBA is, how many games are left towards the end of the year, I did not really foresee a competitive game from the Celtics. I thought they was gonna mail it in. I'm not gonna hold you. I thought they was gonna mail it in and try to rest their stars. But this was actually a good game to watch, a good game to get to measure each other's team strengths and weaknesses, a good game to see how our lineups worked with Mitch, with OG, who was kind of on a heater, and we kind of had a full squad versus the Celtics for the first time in a while. So this was a good game to kind of study to see where we're at. And although we lost, this is a lot better showing than the last 3 games. It's still something to build off of. And if we do meet in the second round, I think there's some things that we could take from this game and bring it into the playoffs and see if we can tweak some things and make some adjustments and steal a couple of wins and see if we can shock the world. So I'm gonna start off the program by saying I'm not super upset we lost. I would have been hyped if we won. But there's some things that I liked and some things I didn't like. What do you think, Lee?
It sounds like, and I just had the feeling, just because I'm always Professor Etzing to try to see how JLS is thinking and feeling. I had the feeling that you weren't super upset about this loss, and neither was I. That probably doesn't make a whole lot of not much of a surprise to hear that from me, as all season I've tried to be pretty steady in terms of wins and losses. I'm not upset about this loss particularly at all, for a couple of reasons. One, as you said, we actually had a fight. We have gotten curb stomped by not just Boston, but Cleveland and especially OKC in these really pivotal games where we're trying to show our mettle against a top 3 team in the NBA. We've been embarrassed. I think Boston wanted to make a statement and say, you guys are nowhere close to us in terms of competitive nature. That's why they played their starters. I think it was a statement game. And we answered and responded, I thought, very, very well. I thought that Jalen Brunson played a phenomenal game, not changing the way that the Knicks have been playing, the way the Knicks have been, more importantly, winning he was on his facilitation mode in the first half. And I thought that got us in a groove. It kept the ball moving and it allowed different guys to kill Boston to where they had to adjust to us as a unit rather than just keying in on one thing and trying to stop that action or stop that player. Love that. Also thought Tibbs came out with a pretty solid game plan, a game plan that was subject to fluidity. He was making changes on the fly, particularly in the fourth quarter, to get us back into the game, particularly switching everything with the last 2 or 3 minutes in the game. I thought was a key metric that helped us win, helped us get into overtime, and made it competitive. So I actually thought Tom Thibodeau coached his ass off this game. I've seen tons of narratives. We're probably going to see in the chat that Tibbs got outcoached. Perhaps we lost. So it's hard to say Tibbs outcoached Missoula when we got the L. But I thought Tibbs coached a very good game. I thought it was one of his best taskmaster close games against a great opponent. It gave me some confidence that if we go into a 7-game series, we're not going to be embarrassed. Do I have more confidence that we can win? No, because Jalen Brown was on the bench, and that must be considered. He's their finals MVP. He's their closer, and they were able to win against us in overtime without him. That's significant. And they didn't have Al Horford, who adds a completely different level. When they have Horford, they're able to switch everything 1 through 5. KP stops them from doing that. But when Horford's in there, he can guard point guards and Drew Holiday can guard centers. So it's very hard to stop them when they have that lineup. I'm not more confident that we can win, but I am more confident that we won't get embarrassed and we can put up a good fight.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit more confident we can win. Well, first of all, Brown, he's not going to be completely healthy in the playoffs from what this how they're talking. Kind of like how we were last year with freaking Jalen Brunson and all these guys. Horford, maybe he'll be back. Horford to me is like one of those guys he's always good. He's been good for a long time. But it's like he's older. So you just have to factor in that he's an older guy and you're not sure where his body will be in the playoffs. So I keep those two things in consideration when it comes to this matchup. But you made a lot of good points. The switching defense was a good point to me. Celtics don't really play well versus switching defense. Not play well, but they struggle the most, I would say, against switching defenses. So it was interesting to see Tibbs do that in the fourth quarter and them take out the rhythm, and that was good. Overall, we held them to 104 points in regulation or a high scoring Celtics team. That's something really good. That's not typical of a Celtics team. So that's something that I look forward to in the playoffs as well if we get matched up with them. And also, yeah, like you said, Lee, I did like the facilitation. I like Jalen Brunson had 27 and 10 assists. McCall got into a nice groove. OG kind of fell off a little bit. I think he was just getting fatigued from guarding Jason Tatum. But you take that with a grain of salt too, because listen, like this is like the second game this season where OG got to guard Tatum. And I'm gonna tell you, the first time was the last game. Whenever OG guarded Tatum, Tatum had a hard time. And the same thing can be said about this game. Besides that step back three, really over OG, Tatum had a rough time versus OG. He's a different animal than Bridges and anybody else we have on his team. OG is really a game changer versus the Celtics. So I knowing he's on his team, it kind of gives me like a little hope that, like, you know what, we have something to neutralize that guy if we play our cards right. We just have to give contributions from everywhere else, and maybe we can steal something. That's what I'm thinking.
Solid points. I think that one of the positives too is that Tom Thibodeau went into this game, and this has kind of been maybe you could call it an adjustment by him on how he's seeing things, that he no longer wants to get beat by the other guys. And he's really keying into allowing a scorer to take his guys one-on-one in single coverage, not send a double, see if he cuts him. If he cuts him, you live with it.
Right.
And I thought Bridges played really good defense on multiple possessions on Jason Tatum. Tatum's offense was just better. You're talking Tatum, what is he? Top 5,
right.
Top 6 on-ball shot creators in the NBA. Let's talk about who the competition is. That wasn't Peyton Pritchard doing that. Those are the type of games I get real frustrated. Is when Drew Holiday has a season high, drops 35, or Pritchard or Hauser or Horford off the bench drops 17, 22. That can be infuriating. Tonight, we got beat by the guys. If you look at who Boston had, we should get beat on. We got beat by Jason Tatum, executing on our Kobe Bryant level and one-on-one matchups. And you had KP hitting daggers from 10, 8 feet beyond the arc.
Yeah.
You can throw whatever you can adjust however you want. You can try a trap real high, but it just as Porzingis is pulling up from damn near over logo and hitting it at 7-1. I don't know how you stop that. So I challenge Nick's Twitter, those in the chat, please tell us, tag me, post in chat. What did Tibbs have done adjustment wise that would have made us win this game? Because I thought he did enough adjustments to put us in position to win this game. We got to overtime, being down 9, at one point, I think 10. I thought we did a good job to get competitive. I don't know what else. I'm not that smart and that's the nose. So please educate me, enlighten me. What could Tibbs have done? Not you, Jay, but the chat and Twitter.
Oh, not me.
What
Okay.
could Tibbs have done to make adjustments where we could have won this game? Because I challenge people who say that. I think most can't even name them.
Yeah, I feel it. The only thing, like, this might not have worked. It might not have worked. The only thing I could be when Celtics went with the double big lineup with Cornette and Porzingis, I was like, okay, maybe we could have counteracted with Mitch and Cat, because Mitch was freaking awesome. Like, that's another thing that gave me some hope about this matchup is Mitch is freaking awesome. Like, he switched on to the Tatum, got a block shot, got a steal when Tatum cooked us with that little snake dribble from 3 to get to the line, like 4, 5, 6 times last game. But Mitch didn't play. And Mitch played this time. He tried a little snake dribble thing, and Mitch poked the ball away, and it was a fast break and dunk. I think if Mitch didn't fall down in that second half, I think he would have played more than 15 minutes because he was awesome. So, like, that's another reason why I'm looking at this game like, okay, we might have something here, yo. We still might have something here to kind of play around.
But Jay, let's also keep it real. That double big lineup that the Celtics were playing, that wasn't a lineup they had in the last 3 minutes of the fourth or in overtime. They went back to their traditional starting lineup with KP at the 5 and Jason Tatum at the 4. So it's not like they had that out there and Tibbs didn't counter with Mitch. Or another very high plus on the net rating lineup is Precious at the 4 and Cat at the 5. That's one of our top 3 best lineups according to net rating, which Tibbs goes by. He didn't run that either. If he did not run that, maybe I have to see some criticism. But what Missoula had out there was KP at the 5 and Tatum at the 4. It wasn't double bid. So I thought the lineup that Tibbs countered with, which was Cat at the 5 and OG at the 4, that was the right matchup. It puts OG squarely one-on-one on Jason Tatum, guard him straight up with no double being sent, and then you have Cat trying to guard KP. What the difficult thing for us is that Hart was also out there, and it allows KP to be put on Hart, and KP can stay roaming the paint as a deterrent, and then crashing out to the 3-point line if he needs to defend a 3. But it really lets him off the hook defensively, being put on Josh Hart because of Hart's inability and inability to hit a 3. That to me was the most detrimental part of our offense being able to stay with them, was it was constantly 5 guys being able to shoot 3s against 4.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So they did have the double big lineup on there, and we had a little bit of trouble with it. But really, to be truth be told, the biggest swing of the game was the third quarter. The first 5 minutes of the third quarter lost us the game. Well, not even that. It's the first 5 minutes of the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, and just like silly mistakes. Like, the biggest mistake of the game was, a sidelines out of bounds play. The Knicks are talking over who should guard who, and the Celtics get a layup.
Yes.
Wow, that was,
bruh.
Yes.
Something like that is ridiculous. That, and down 3. I mean, this could make a difference or not. But down 3, you pass the ball to Mikal Bridges, and it's an out of bounds. He takes his eye off the ball in clutch moments. Those are like 2 really big turnovers.
Both that involved him primarily.
Right. So like something like that. It's the detail stuff and the little details lost us the game, and that plus the rebounding situation where we did really good rotating defending the shots, but we just didn't finish plays by getting the rebound. Often enough, it's really hard to get the offensive rebound when the team scrambles like we do to cover the shot, and that's how they were able to kind of win the game. Really, to me, it was the offensive rebounding, and that 5 minutes in the third quarter where we just kind of took our eye off the ball. And the only thing I also wish we did more was went back to Cat in that first 5 minute stretch where we were down, because he was dominating. I was always begging for us to like punish the Celtics for putting smaller players on our bigs. And to me, this is the first time we've actually did it. And it looked really good. It looks really good. And then it got to the point where he was punishing them so much they had to double. And he kicked it out to Campaign. And I'm like, all right, this is like, now we can get open threes now. But Campaign missed the three, but I felt like we didn't really get back to that. But I'm nitpicking at this point because we were still up. We were still up. We were still up with like what 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter to lose the game. So we did a lot of things right. Like we lost one quarter. We won every quarter except one.
Correct. And I'll basically distill all my takes down to a single opinion that I think what lost this game is what you said: mental lapses on the court, specifically mental lapses involving Mikal Bridges, and also not staying going to Cat on mismatches when they were switched. And he had Drew Holiday and Derek White on him. He was cooking in those post ups in the mid post. I mean, barbecue chicken. He can either back up or he can do his little spin move. I mean, when he spins, he's so efficient, either hand, finishing at the rim. And we went away from that in the third, and then late in the fourth. Overtime, we got back to it, but late in the fourth, I thought we went away from Jalen Brunson a little bit too much. I felt like he was trying to spread the love again and getting OG and Bridges involved, which there were a couple of awesome passes by Cat and Brunson to Bridges in that mid-range area that was like, and I tagged you, why is KP in drop here when Bridges has the ball? And that's the expected, but most likely pass too, was Brunson to Bridges. Why would you get in the drop and just guard the rim when you know he's going to pull it for a midi, and he's like one of the highest percentage there behind DeRozan? So I think there's a couple of miscues, but man, I thought Bridges was really solid when we asked him to take a shot. He took it and typically made it. Would have liked a more aggressive OG. And I know you're right. He's exhausted guarding Jason Tatum, but at least be a threat. Be a gravitational pull out there. When they start sacking off you, that means Brunson's getting doubled harder and Cat's getting doubled harder, and that can lead to offensive fouls for Carl-Anthony Towns or bunnies from Jalen Brunson. So overall, it was a loss I can live with because I thought we played our asses off. We left it all out there on the court. No one played soft. No one played poor. To me, everyone gave great effort. Some mental lapses I think can be cleaned up, but Jaylen Brown is on the bench.
Right.
And that cannot be ignored. Now, if his health going to the playoffs, that could make it to where it's a very close series. But I'm looking at on paper and what this season has showed us in terms of factual evidence, empirical evidence, Boston's better than the Knicks. In a 7-game series, both teams are healthy. I think we lose in 5, maybe 6 games. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're not there yet. We look a lot closer. Maybe
Agreed.
Maybe we'll figure some things out. And OG doesn't have any legs left, man. Like when it was like I forgot, was it the fourth quarter or overtime when he like airballed the 3-point shot? This man has been shooting over 50% from 3 for 15 games. He was wide open and shot an airball. I was like, oh yeah, he has no legs. And also, he was 3 from 6 from the free throw line. So I think he was just exhausted. That's my theory. I think he was just exhausted trying to guard freaking Tatum all day. But great job defensively. Hopefully he does give us more offensively. It's funny too because I like they ran through OG. They made OG the focal point of the offense in that third quarter. It didn't all the way work out. But I like that the coach recognized that OG has been on a heater, so we're gonna run through him with the second unit. He actually made a couple of great moves that didn't drop. They were all like kind of around the rim, rolling in and out. I think Deuce McBride had a three that went in and out. Campaign had a three that went in and out. OG missed a couple of free throws in that little stint in that third quarter. Like we were right there, yo. We were right there. Sometimes I'll be feeling like it's a mental thing too. It's like if we get over that mental hump of winning that one game, then shots like that won't miss, and we won't make those weird mental mistakes. But because we haven't beat the Celtics, sometimes I wonder if we have like a weird mental block in these type moments.
I got a hot take prediction. I think we win game 1 of the second round against the Boston Celtics. I think we're going to win that game in Boston. We're going to steal one, and that will change the chemistry of our confidence against this team. Because the playoffs, it's a clean slate. Doesn't matter what happened in the regular season. We've seen many times over the last 2 decades examples of where a team has a great record, 3-1, 4-0 against their opponent. They get in the playoffs and they get absolutely curb stomped because that team has the vets or the experience of a cohesion or a better game plan, or more executable game plan, one that doesn't rely so much on high volume threes, this, that, and the other. So I think if we win that first game in Boston and Jalen Brown is on the bench or injured, anything could happen for sure.
That's what's up. Okay. I hope you're right. I definitely hope you're right. Let's see. Hold on. I'm putting the Discord link to chat up if you guys want to ask questions. Ebony is supposed to join us, but maybe she got caught up. But salute to you guys in the chat though. Salute to you guys in the chat. Shout out to my guy Yankees 1 in TikTok. Yankees 1 in oops, I put the YouTube link. Hold on, I'm sorry guys. I didn't mean to put the YouTube link. I meant to put the Discord link up, not the YouTube link. I'm sorry guys. But shout out to the Yankees 1. Shout out to Prezi the Boss, Cool Heeb, JT Riddick, Frank White 2614. Fritz, the best mod in the game, over here holding it down once again. Sandman over here trolling as usual. Teran Mosley, Felicia Lee, Nostalgic. Everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. I appreciate you guys rocking with us. If you like this show, hit that like and subscribe. We here. Every game we here talking Knicks basketball. Yankees 1. Oh, speak of the devil. I see Ebony entering the chat. All right, Yankees 1. I know Yankees 1 said he wanted to be on a panel or something. If you want to chat, you can go to Discord link here. You won't be like on video, but you'll be on audio if you want to call to us on TikTok. Yankees 1 from TikTok. And I'll also put the Discord link in the YouTube chat as well. If you guys want to talk.
I also want to say it was another great defensive effort, I thought, from Karl-Anthony Towns. Still made some stupid boneheaded plays. Overall, I thought he guarded the rim. He kept guys like Richard and Drew Holiday from getting easy points to the basket. Those are 2 guys that really depend on those easy 2 points in order to get in a rhythm. And I thought Karl-Anthony Towns also was really great on his reads today. I thought he knew when to pass, get other guys involved, when to cut, when to hit cutters, when to pull up for his kick-ass 3-point shot. Overall, I thought he was really effective. I bring it back into Josh Hart, man. Josh Hart, that's the X factor to me on how deep we go. It's not just about the 3-point line. It's just how defenses adjust to him. I mean, when Boston went into his zone, we really didn't have any choice but to put him into a dunker spot. And once we do that, we take away a lot of his usefulness because he's better operating as a passer and playmaker out of the mid to high post. So when you have to put him in the dunker spot because you know that he ain't going to take that 3, or if he does, he's going to brick it. It complicates your offense. And when that happens, Cat and Brunson tend to feel like they have to go into ISO mode instead of moving the ball around because now Hart's out of position and he's not there in his spot. So he's usually a primary or secondary playmaker. It just throws a wrench into everything. We need an efficient Josh Hart moving to the playoffs, hitting threes. I like the elevation we're seeing from Cat. We're seeing from OG. We saw most of it from Bridges. Awesome reintegration from Jalen Brunson. We got to have Josh Hart be at peak of his game going to the postseason.
Yeah, I actually like Josh Hart's game today for the most part, except for the missed threes. He did a good job attacking Porzingis, going to the paint, and doing his Josh Hart hustle thing. He wasn't a liability like he was the first. I feel like the first 3 Celtics games offensively, he was a complete liability, and today offensively he showed up some. So Actually, I didn't mind the Josh Hart game today.
I don't know about that, but I guess he was. I mean, what was he like? 1 for 5, 1 for 6 from three.
Yeah, I mean the 3-point shooting was off. He
Yeah, I was still
was
liability.
Let's see.
0 for 4 from three.
0 for 4 from 3,
5 of 14
5 for 14.
overall.
Okay, well, maybe yeah, 5 for 14, 35%. Okay, well,
7 assists though. 7 assists. He
7
give it, then he
assists.
take it.
Let me see, -5. Okay. -5 today. Okay. Maybe it's the big. Maybe my brain is foggy from the big shot he made in the fourth quarter on that cut. But
It's beautiful. That was a great pass by Brunson too.
the other thing too is like he took the final three. I thought he should have kicked it out to McCall for that three. Personally, I thought McCall was open, and he elected to take it and shoot a three, and kind of clanked off. I was like, curious decision. Glad he wasn't
Yeah,
scared to take it, but I wish you would have passed that one out to McCall.
Me too, bro. Me too. What's up, Ebony?
Always on mute. What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
Yeah, it was a hard fought win. It's a hard fought win. I like that effort. I like that fight. We know we could have played better, but I like that fight. That's all I can ask for is how we were going to finish this game. We lost focus in a lot of key parts of this game. The third quarter coming off a good first half. We we lost for miscommunication. Things has been bothering us. Been a flaw of ours the whole season. Miscommunications on both ends. You see the Jalen Brunson. I don't know if he was trying to get it to Josh Hart or he just fumbled the pass. I mean the dribble. I wasn't too sure about that turnover. Was that the one that was actually the starter overtime, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was like a couple little sequences with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart where they just weren't on the same page. Like he was driving, Josh Hart's man kind of doubled, and he tried to pass to Josh Hart real quick, and Josh wasn't like looking in that direction. Like I feel like it happened twice within like a
Yeah,
short span.
it happened. We had some lack of focus defensively in the third quarter, and then in the start of that overtime, it was kind of a miscommunication on both ends. I remember we had things like that turnover, and then coming down and then not knowing who our man is and giving a wide open
Yeah,
layup.
yeah, we talked about
Those
that
those are
earlier.
those are things that you can't let happen. I talked about all in the pregame how we can beat Boston, y'all. We can beat Boston. They rely heavily on the 3-pointer.
True.
They rely heavily on the 3-pointer. They don't really care to get points in other ways. Today, the mid-range was how they got points in other ways. Normally their percentage of mid-range is not that big. They're actually number 30 in the league. They're number 30 in points in the paint. They're like number 30 in fast break points. They don't get to the line. So when I'm looking at the halftime stats and I'm seeing they took 12 free throws already, I'm like, what? That's what we can't do. We can't miss free throws. We have to take when we play this team, we have to make as least mistakes as possible.
Yeah.
Meaning hitting your free throws, rebounding, limiting the offensive rebounds, limiting the fast break points. That's how they actually got back into the game on us in the first half. They started pushing against our unset defense.
Mm-hmm.
Just things that we've been having problems with all year. We kind of, it kind of shows itself, and that kind of goes back to what I say when pressure situations, you go back to what you know. You kind of go back to what you're kind of comfortable with at times. The whole thing for me with this game for us was not to beat ourselves, and I kind of feel like we had a hand in this loss a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
Uh,
We beat ourselves.
a lot of bit. So just again lack of focus. KP is on the heater. KP's on the heater. Why are we helping off of him on drivers, chat? That happened a couple shots in a row for KP, and I think third quarter when he started going off from 3-point. He hit some crazy ones, but it was a lot of times where it was lack of attention, a lack of attention to detail, if
Yeah.
you want to say.
Yeah, the play where Cat drove, hit the floor. It was a 4-on-5 Cat fast break. Cat runs back to get back into play, but he runs to get the rebound, but he doesn't run to guard KP. And then KP just kind of had all day to line up and shoot the three, and that, it became like an 8 point lead after that. That's like one of those decisions where it's like, all right, go to KP. He's the only man open. You're the only man down. Go to KP, but it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
good game
Sorry,
overall,
man.
though. Good game overall. You just gotta clean certain things up. One thing that you said Ebony, that I wanted to touch on. One of the keys to beating them. Like I feel like if we just keep them a half court ISO team, we have a chance.
Uh, yeah, they get, but it's like they're not. I thought they pass the ball. They can pass the ball. They're willing passing team. They're like the middle of the pack in assists though. That's I'm surprised. I was yeah. They like number 16 in the league. I was
Yeah,
surprised. And something else that surprised me was that they do like their 2 point shots. A lot of it is like unassisted. I had the stat.
yeah.
Yeah, number 6 and number unassisted unassisted 2 pointers.
That's what I'm.
So like that surprised me.
I feel like if we keep them, because what happens is like when OG is on Tatum, Tatum has a rough time. So what they'll try to screen OG off of him, and the time he was able to score was when they were successful screening OG off of him. But then there was times where he fought over the screen and he still was able to guard Tatum 1-on-1, and they got nothing. So it's like if we can like offensive rebound and just keep them half court with OG versus Tatum for like 70% of the game.
Yeah. I got a little theory on how we did it bits and pieces, but I think to do it for a whole game. One, I want to see the Boston Celtics are number 28 in pace. That means they're very methodical in what they do. And they're like third to last in possessions in the whole league. So they don't even get a lot of possessions, but they make their possessions count. It's quality over quantity with them. Really, really, what does it look like if we speed them up? And I think we kind of did that in the first quarter. We kind of speed them up a little bit where they were trying to get us in fast breaks and it didn't look so well. And does that affect the efficiency? I wanted to see if we could try to do that the whole game with that affect the efficiency, because they're very, very, they take their time when they get the ball. Again, they depend so much on their 3 point. If we, I felt if we did a better job throughout the games, not consistent though. Stay home. Jalen Brown didn't have it today, but we just talked about staying home with Porzingis. Let the Pritchards in the houses see if they, don't let them go off. Don't let everybody else go off. Stay home. I thought we did a better job kind of like that in the first half of just kind of running them off the three more. So until, Tatum had a stretch where he was just hitting tough buckets. But other than that, I felt that we needed to stay home and points of the game, we just stopped again with attention to detail and started letting Drew Holiday uh affect the game, letting Pritchard Shamit let him bully him a little bit. Things of this nature, like the others started chipping in when they needed to, and we didn't stay home.
I
Yeah.
like that point. I definitely agree with you that you should force them into a half court isolation team. And as Ebony pointed out, they shoot a lot of threes. That's how they score. If you can take that away from them, or at least make them use them as bailout options and force them to try and run their offense through isolation. You look at how successful they are when they do that. That's why Jason Tatum is number 2 in frequency in isolation in the entire NBA. Entire after James Harden number 1, it's Jason Tatum number 2. He only shoots though 42% in isolation. Jalen Brown's not much better, also 42%. Brunson, 49%, just to add some context. So I agree with you. That might be the best way to play him. The problem, though, is if Jalen Brown is healthy, even 80%, it's his off-ball threat. That's what makes him dangerous. If Jason Tatum gets some space with OG, or not as maybe enough space for a good shot, but enough space for a good pass, That's where Boston's really dangerous, is all the constant off-ball moving and the cutting by someone like Brown, who's so intelligent and doesn't have really a bad part of his game. Eyes, hands, body, lateral movement, everything. That's when they're really dangerous. But you remove Brown from injury and you put everything on Tatum and an island, man, it's pretty competitive. I agree with you.
Yeah, but like I said, Brown. We don't know what version of Brown we're getting during the playoffs.
What do you mean?
He's injured.
Yeah,
Oh,
his
yeah.
knee.
Yeah,
Yeah, his
yeah.
knee.
We don't know what version of Brown we're getting in the playoffs.
Nope.
Agreed.
So
He looked cooked tonight.
he
defensively.
absolutely looked cooked. So
Couldn't
he looked
change
good.
direction. The second move was not there. Like, you know
Yeah.
how you try to
mm-hmm.
he couldn't do it. He had
It
no
hurt their
no
rotations.
burst.
That's how we got that big lead, is when they were
Right.
depending on.
And even like the games we played, like I felt like we did a good job on him, but like I felt like we got in trouble when he was Brown was cooking us in the post in the last few games. I felt like we did a good job defending him outside the post, but then when he got to the post, he just started cooking us. Maybe Bridges will have a better shot defending Brown in the post than Tatum in the post. Who knows? That's something we haven't seen yet. Because like I said, we haven't had really OG and Bridges completely healthy guarding these guys yet. The first time was a game ago. And so that's just something just to look out for when we match up with them. Hopefully we do match up with them.
I
All
like our
right.
matchup.
What?
I like our matchup against them though. I really do. It's not too much where, like you mentioned, it's going to the playoffs are going to slow down. It's going to be a lot of half court sets, a lot of work in the half court offense for these teams. And for us on defense, I like, again, we asked about adjustments. It was a couple adjustments. Tibbs wasn't stubborn, and he matched up. He took Mitch out. And he matched up with the lineup that Missoula put out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then another adjustment was when he switched OG and Mikal off of Tatum. Dad, I forgot where I was going with this, y'all. But I see the adjustments on that part. I did. And that I really did forget where I was going with this.
You know what I think that the key X factor is for them, and I'm saying this with Jalen Brown assumed to be injured, not 100% going to the playoffs. I actually meant Al Horford, who we didn't see tonight as well. I think Cornette has gotten. I mean, it's funny watching Cornette and KP. I'm like, no, I remember that Knicks front court. I remember that during the Phil Jackson era. It was really shitty for the most part. Now, damn, he looks really good. Just about everything. Cornette become a great screen setter, even a lob threat. Fairly good passer, great offensive rebounder, great defensive rebounder. Dangerous, very dangerous player. They have him doing a lot, and they trust him to play big minutes. Him and Mitch, I think Mitch is definitely way better, but they kind of cancel each other out. Hauser and Pritchard cancel what you're going to get from Shamet, Payne, and Deuce out. Pritchard's, of all of them, Pritchard's the best offensively. To me, it's an Al Horford role. Horford is someone who's not afraid to take and make a big three. That's, I think, what would swing the series. Because I think their five with a hobbled Brown against our five fully healthy, it's pretty damn even on both ends, offensively and defensively. Importantly, defensively, it's finally even with Brown hobbled. Healthy, it's a different story. But Horford, man, if we can contain Horford and really make Horford a non-factor, I don't know how we do that because he's so perimeter oriented. That's where he passes. That's where he shoots.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a big who can go out there and defend that besides Mitch, and he's on man's restrictions. To me, he's the X factor. How do we contain Horford? How do we keep Horford from not being the guy who's a bailout option to hit back-baiting threes?
Yeah. And again, I think Mitch would play more if Mitch didn't fall. He would have played more because he's played more than 15 minutes this season. He's had like a 20-something minute game. So I really think he fell. Everybody was like, whoa, you're not going to risk it. The playoffs are right around the corner. Agree. Sit down. I know you had a good game, but nah, we need you more for the playoffs. So
yeah. And you kind of see Mitch's impact again, working his way back into game shape or whatever the case is, stamina. But you kind of see his impact is, again, it kind of reminded me of the Miami Heat series when they went small to try to make Tibbs take him out. because we did have a good stretch when he was in there. He with the defense again, learning from his mistake because he did allow a 3 or 2 from Tatum dropping back in the first half.
Yeah.
And in the second half, he started pushing up, full on switching on Tatum at times,
Mm-hmm.
and
Guarded well.
yeah, I was about to say maybe we need to put Mitch on Tatum.
Maybe. Hey,
Hell, break glass. Why
put him
not?
on. Yeah, put him on Mitch Island. There you go.
Yeah, because when they switched on that pick, Cornette said the pick, and Mitch switched on Tatum, and Tatum tried to cross over on him. He deflected the ball from Tatum, caused a turnover, gets OG a wide open dunk on the other end.
Yeah.
Then he gets a block. You've seen a block in that same stretch.
Yeah.
Then an offensive rebound in that same stretch. So yeah, Missoula was like, "Oh no, get him out of here." Derek White, go take Cornette. Derek White, you go get a Cornette because he was making an effect, and their offense got stagnant in that
Yo,
that stretch.
not only that, yo, like Mitch and OG together defensively is scary. There was a couple of times where I felt like, oh, they beat us. Like there was a play where Drew Holiday was driving to the hole and did like a spin move, and then like Mitch recovered. Then OG worked himself back into the play. Then they ended up switching, and then Mitch went back. It was like they were sharing one brain defensively, and they ended up stopping that play after I thought that was a surefire layup. They had a couple of instances where like Mitch's and OG's like defensive chemistry is off the freaking charts. If you watch the game, just watch them share the floor with each other and watch how seamlessly they switch or stay or deflect when they're playing together and within the same vicinity of a defender. They're scary defensively.
Yes, they are, and that's again reminded me where I was going the first time. Defense. We talk about series, and I'm not overlooking the first round. I'm including the first round in this. We have good defenders of Mikal, OG, Deuce, Payne, who's showing he's a good defender. Mitch, you have these defenders. Now we talk about them having extra time to just lock in on one team. Just to lock in on one team. That is why I take this team against anybody. Jalen Brunson, Cat, able to lock in on one team, like pick apart this team where they can affect them. That's different, and we have the personnel to match up with any team. To me, when it comes on that defensive end, where you can have Mikal and he may get cooked, then you put the likes of OG. Where we just mentioned that our center was staying in front of Tatum. If we can keep that consistently, in the playoffs, Shaq talking about some Detroit.
Man, you already know.
Bruh.
You already know Shaq has the same script every TNT broadcast. Like it doesn't even like I already know what's happening. Oh, I love the Knicks. And then he just copy paste whatever he said last week, applies it to a Knicks team, and it says the same shit. I don't even take that dude seriously.
Yeah, he just has a real big hate for us. Real big hate. But for Mikal, like I know he kind of hit some big shots down the stretch, and then he did the turnover down the stretch. So he giveth and he taketh, as Clyde likes to say. But in halftime, one of my notes was Mikal got to show up. Mikal has to show up. It's been all season, these type of games too many times. He's been Casper. So I appreciate the shots that he made down the stretch and that we needed those. We did need it.
We did.
We needed those, but I need him to help the team on that end. OG was off. He was off offensively today too. But what I loved about OG is that he didn't just depend on that 3-pointer. He tried to go to the hole, start trying to be aggressive, start trying to get to the line. Maybe the refs will call this foul, and I could get myself into the rhythm for the line. I would like that for Mikal. I would like him to stop fading so much and maybe try to get to the line when you're not in rhythm. You're not, your shot is not there.
Right.
But he can't keep going Casper.
Yeah.
Too talented of a player to do that.
Yeah. Decent game
I
today, though. So
I think our overall approach on how to store, utilizing how elite we are at storing the 2-pointer, I thought that was a solid game plan by Tibbs. I think of all the top 3 or 4 teams in both conferences, we're probably the best 2-point scoring team of all of them. And we really utilized the paint and I just like the middle part of a ground, both from mid range to the low post. I thought we really dominated there. Not just talking about Mikal Bridges, but that's where Karl-Anthony Towns was posting up. That's where Josh Hart was trying to do a lot of his playmaking. I mean, they were putting him there when KP was darting him, so he didn't really have much of a choice. But OG was dominant driving in. Brunson was solid from the mid range. We scored 60 points in the paint tonight. I thought that was a good game plan. Look, we are not the volume team of Boston. Let's not try to pretend we're the volume team of Boston and shoot 53s. I believe we shot 38 tonight. Did okay from there, but I like that we concentrate on the mid range and we dominated the mid range.
that was my theory, Lee. See, I remember I said that. I remember I said beginning of the season, it's like we not Celtics, man. Put Cat in the middle and post those guys, and then eventually gonna have to double, and then we get our threes that way. Like,
yeah, and I was wrong. We shot 29% from three, so we did not do good there, but we did shoot 63% overall, which shows how dominant we were scoring in the paint in the mid range.
Yeah, and one thing to mention, I look back because if you're gonna look, I looked at some of their L's they took recently, which is not many, and like 2 in the last 16 games or so. But also if you look at the schedule, and they were playing a lot of the Washingtons and things of that nature, their end of schedule has been very, very favoring for them, if you want to say. But one thing I do say, when they lost to OKC, they took 63 threes, Boston that was. OKC, and they only hit 20 of those. OKC only hit 13 threes, and they only took 37. They did not try to outshoot Boston. They didn't. They got it from their defense, points off of turnovers, and they got it from the free throw line. They shot like 35 or 25 free throws. So these are ways you have to, when you're playing Boston, you have to get points from the other avenues. Not a whole bunch, but you need to get that. You need to be aggressive. You need to dominate in the paint because they're not looking to do it. And if you're running them off the team like we were doing in that first half, because Boston was only shooting 30% at the time, we were doing a good job with our 3-point defense during that first half. So if we continue if we can lock in for a whole game like that, and I take my chances against us in Boston, for real.
And part of the reason our defense, we forced them to have to play Cornette because of how well Mitch and Cat were playing at the 5 spot. We forced them to have to play double bigs, which takes away them from being 5 out. They're really the only true 5 out team in the NBA. So if you can mitigate that and make them have 2 big guys on the floor to where the space is not always there for KP to take a 3, that's to our advantage. And you have to beat them by scoring better 2s than the 2s and 3s that they're taking. I thought we did a good job of that tonight overall.
Yeah, I did too. And one thing, else about Cat. Shout out to him. He played a good game, and we've been asking all season for him to punish the mismatch of them putting smaller players on him, and he definitely did today. And not even today. It's been a couple of games now with the hook shot. Kind of reminds me of when Julius Randle found the shot that he had in the lane that he took, and I asked him, please keep that in your bag and don't let it out. The same thing with that hook shot. Please, again, looking like he may be working with Pat.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe he worked on that.
Yeah, maybe asking him some pointers or things. That hook shot, I don't know why more bigs don't have that in their repertoire. You can't. How can you guard that thing?
Especially the Celtics, they like to play small, so just so they can switch on pick and rolls. It's like, oh, if you want to play small, just hook shot him to death, and he did that.
Yep, facts. And with the hook shot, even if they come in double, y'all, if they come for the double, it's already a high shot, so that won't affect it that much either. And we saw that today. Like so I'm glad he's practicing that and incorporating in his game, and it made a difference, especially on the little ones, the little players. He could take his time and do that.
Right, for sure. All right, yo, salute to the chat. I see you, the Predicate, David Smith, and a Grill. Shout out to our guy Phil. I see you, Phil.
Hey, Phil. My God.
Yeah. Phil had a poignant question. He's like, hey, if you guys know a sponsor who wants to sponsor on the KOT show or Knicks Nightcap, during the playoffs, let us know, and we'll have some sponsors for the playoffs. Just contact contact us on Twitter. You can talk nicktimepodcast@gmail.com or contact Phil or myself on any of our socials, and we'll talk. All right. So shout out to you, Phil. You know, I want to move on from the game really quick just to mention something that happened in the NBA that I'm sure you guys might want to talk about. So, yeah, I'm at work today around, I don't know what time it was, morning, afternoon, I don't know. But it was disorienting news, really, today when I learned that Mike Malone from the Denver Nuggets was fired from the Nuggets today. The man who brought the Nuggets a championship years ago fired. Unusually late in the season, playoffs around the corner. Last game of the season is the 13th, which means I don't know what happened over there with the Nuggets, who he pissed off, but something must have happened crazy. And of course, you already know what Knicks fans are thinking, or at least the Fire Tibbs crowd. They got the pitchforks ready. They're waiting for Tibbs to sneeze wrong to get Mike Malone to replace him. So I just want to get your guys' takes on the firing Mike Malone, and do you see Mike Malone being a Knicks coach in the future? I already see Ebony smirking.
Yeah, you're gonna be surprised though. It's kind of like the Spider-Man men, you know, when there's two Spider-Mans and they pointing at each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's Thibodeau and Mike Malone, really. They're actually Mike Malone it was Calvin Booth, which was their GM. He got fired too. The GM or president? Which one was he? I don't know. I know front office.
GM. What's
Yeah. Okay. So
GM. Yeah.
GM.
Okay, GM. Sorry. So Calvin Booth, the GM, he's fired too. And it was reports that I just seen that they were at odds because Mike Malone was playing Russell Westbrook, and they wanted a rookie in those spots. That he was too vet reliant. What's the rookie's name? I think it starts with a J. I'll
Jalen
find.
Pickett.
There you go. That is exactly his name. They wanted to see more minutes for him and less minutes for Westbrook. I guess Mike Malone wasn't with it. He's coaching to try to get another chip and doesn't believe to do this. Let me teach have to teach the rookie along, probably. Who knows?
Right. Bring them along slowly type stuff.
Yes, that's what I'm hearing about, that it was about difference in coaching styles. But I find this very disrespectful, even if that is the case, because this, again, like you mentioned, you opened up with Jay. He just won a championship for y'all. At least let him finish the season. Like, have the respect to do that.
I kind of feel like it's disrespectful to Jokic, yo. Like
y'all just blew the season, said we not good enough.
Right.
That's another thing. Like, this team is not making it. It doesn't even make it a difference that we fired a coach or not. Why wait? That's what if I'm Jokic, I'm reading that. Unless him and Mike Malone started bumping heads.
Yeah, I don't like. Yeah, that's the only reason. What's the only, like? It just seems weird. You think him and Mike Malone? I can't imagine him and Mike Malone bumping heads though. Like, it didn't seem like I do feel like the franchise player has to okay a move like that. But like you said, if they just feel like they're not doing what they want him to do, then that's. I know you guys are like, some people are like, see, the Knicks can do the same thing. No, that's dysfunction, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I know, as much as you hate Tibbs, that is a dysfunctional move. That is an LOL Knicks move that they did in Denver. That is an LOL Denver. If I'm Jokic, I'm throwing my chair right now. That's crazy.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah.
It's basically saying we don't believe in this team.
Yeah.
So, if you think about it, the last 6 NBA champions, the last 6, 4 of them have been fired. Only Eric Spoelstra and Joe Mazzulla are still in their situation. Nick Nurse was fired from Toronto. Frank Vogel was fired from the Los Angeles Lakers. Bud was fired from Milwaukee. Kerr is still there in Golden State. And then you had now Mike Malone is fired in Denver. And you still have Joe Mazzulla in Boston. That is, if you think about that, the last 6 NBA champions, 4 of them have been fired. That is crazy. One of them has been fired twice since then, and Frank Vogel. And Budenholzer might end up being the second one after this season, which is crazy to think about. All these fans clamoring for firing Tibbs. I understand a lot of the sympathies. I was at one time the president of the Fire Tibbs fan club, but I realized the most important question is not, do you fire Tibbs? It's what do you do after that? Who do you hire after that is such a supremely important question. There's all kinds of data points throughout the last 50 years or the last 25 years of modernity. You want to look at to dictate what works and what doesn't. But at the end of the day, you don't know. What you do know is who you have right now. And what Mike Malone was, I've heard a lot of comparisons that he's similar to Tibbs. That's fair. I think most coaches that are in their baby boom era are probably fairly similar in the type of game that they grew up in and coached within. Made sense. Also, him and Tibbs are both assistants in New York under Van Gundy. Made sense that they would have a similar philosophy. But Mike Malone went into a situation that was complete poverty in Denver, complete lottery, complete ass, and built a consistent championship contender. Helped groom and develop a guy to be a top 10 immediately greatest player of all time in Nikola Jokic. Formed deep, resonant relationships with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and kept that trio together and helped them become competitive and did over injuries and did over mental blots and did over issues coming back from injury and or inconsistency to finally get over the hump and win a championship. He's also, in my opinion, done a pretty good job at filling in the margins. Once Bruce Brown left, KCP left, or Reggie Jackson left, he did a good job developing as Ebony mentioned Pickett, Strother, Watson, Braun. He started or at least played a rookie when they won championship major minutes in Christian Braun. That's something that can't be ignored. Yeah, he might be like Tibbs maybe in his play calling, but I saw him double Jimmy Butler when Tibbs didn't in their run to the championship. I saw my man Deej point that out today on Twitter. That was a good point. I thought about that. I was like, yeah, Jimmy got doubled, took out their offense. It was an easy 5-game beatdown. So just be mindful. I like the idea of adding him to the crew. I think Tibbs would definitely want to have him on there because they've been friends for a very long time, speak very highly. I think he'd be a great addition as an assistant. He's 17 years younger than Tibbs. Move him into that role once we decide to move on with Tibbs. He would automatically be the best assistant. Tibbs has 3 or 4 yes men that have been absolute dog shit, do absolute nothing on a serious level because they've been there with it the whole time, and Tibbs rarely changes. So you know they're nothing but yes man. Get rid of all those bumps. Keep Yoshi Yakamoto, whatever his name is. He's cool, right? He's summer lead. Those other 3 white guys that I don't know who went there, Dave Erdman, whatever. Get those bumps out of MSG. Wrap in Mike Malone. Have someone there that can actually challenge Tibbs and institute some new things on the offense. Listen, Mike Malone coached the greatest passing center in NBA history. I bet he would have some ideas for how to run the offense through Karl-Anthony Towns. Jamal Murray played a majority of his time off ball. Bet he would have some ideas on how to make JB be more effective off ball and not have to be so ball dominant. Let's try. I think it's a good idea. I'm not saying fire Tibbs, but I like the idea of adding Mike Malone to our roster, but I'm sure he'll get some head coaching opportunities this summer.
Yeah, you took some of the points that I wanted to say about.
My bad, bro.
That's fine. That's fine. It's cool. You did your thing. Like I just think like you said, adding him to this team would be dope. Will he make it through the summer without being hired? I doubt it. But as a head coach, I doubt it. But yeah, adding him to an assistant role would be amazing, considering how in the beginning of the season we were kind of calling ourselves like the East Coast Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Because we have a passing big man in Karl-Anthony Towns, and because we don't have a Jamal Murray, but we have a Jalen Brunson who kind of cook you in ISO in end of game situations, kind of like that. And he's kind of figured out a way to make that team perform well defensively in key moments, even though they were a middle pack defensive team for that championship season. But when the game was on the line, they were able to ratchet up the screws and play defense for real. I agree with you, Lee. Like a guy like that who's kind of coached a similarly built team on the West would be pretty helpful for us on the Knicks. So I'll be down for him joining the Knicks squad for sure. For sure. Sign me up. Replacing Tibbs, I don't see it. I mean, at least not this year. Like I said before, you guys are counted the Knicks out in the first round. The only way I see Tibbs getting canned is if he like blows it harshly in the first round to me, which I don't see happening. I think a lot of the fans just want him out and they're just looking for anything to get him out, but I don't think he's getting out for sure. Like, just think about what happened. Just think about the 9-game losing streak that happened a couple of years ago, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's for sure going to be out of here." And Leon just kind of gave him another chance after the 9-game winning streak, and he turned it around. So I feel like his leash, because he's his boy, because he's turned his team around, I feel like his leash is going to be long. He has to completely like craft the bed in the playoffs.
I agree.
So
100% agree.
yeah.
The sooner Knicks Twitter understands that, the sooner we'll have less clutter and narratives on the timeline.
Yeah, but I do feel like some people just low key make their living off of the negative engagement farming.
Are you saying there's someone out there who just does nothing but fire Tibbs and calls Tom Thibodeau every day in our chat and on Twitter, and his views never verge from that, and he has nothing else to say or any other defense of that? There's someone out there like that? No way, man. Hell no. There ain't no one out there. Nah, you made that up in your head, bro. Ain't no way. And he watches KOT and he's in the chat right now? Nah, man. Come on. Hell. No one's that dumb.
Oh, God. Shots fired. Oh, God.
I'm talking about you, Sam, man.
Shots.
Yes, I am.
Oh, then he said,
I'm talking about you, Sam, man. Bozo ass, man. Come on.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wasn't pointing any singular person out. I'm just saying.
I was. I had to block him.
I've seen.
I don't think he's a bad guy. I mean, I entertained him. No one else comments on his post or does any engagement with him. I engaged with him. It was too much, bro. It's like, I just got tired of it. I'm like, damn, just give me something else. Be negative. Criticize someone else. You don't criticize anybody. It's just Tom Thibodeau. We're going to lose because of Tom Thibodeau. We're going to get bounced because of Tom Thibodeau. All right, bro, I get it. Tell me something else. I talked in the toilet bowl, man. Come on.
At least on his roasting session. Oh,
Just had it, man. I had
That
it.
means I hit the gunshots again. Okay. Oh, man. Whew. Yeah, I think we covered that topic. I know you guys want to talk about that. There it is. Mike Malone will not be a Knick as a head coach. Maybe not even an assistant coach. Be dope though. Man from Queens was.
Well, Jay, let's not count out.
Anything can happen.
It could happen. If the only real opening that he could want is Memphis. If Memphis doesn't entreat him, where else is he going to go? Like, no other team really has a vacancy unless Doc is fired. Maybe he goes to Milwaukee. But I think he could wait it out and be like, I don't want to coach Charlotte. I don't want to coach Washington. If I'm like, hey, I'm interested, they fire the coach and they bring him in. He could have just taken a year off and be an assistant with us and say, maybe Tibbs retires up the next year. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's possible.
His retiring is good luck.
Yeah, this playoff is gonna tell me a lot about my fandom towards Tibbs.
Me too.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, yo. Oohs and bras? Any oohs and bras?
Yeah, Shaq, of course.
I already know. For you guys that don't know, ooh picks and bra picks. Ooh picks are something great that you want to point out. It says ooh is great. It could be a play from a Knick. It could be anything basketball related. And a bra is something stupid, dumb, idiotic that you want to point out. Say it's stupid, dumb, idiotic. It could be a take. It could be a basketball play. It could be anything.
Bruh.
Yeah, Shaq is a doof.
Yeah.
I want to talk about him. Yeah, it's just Shaq.
Just Shaq.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Just Shaq. I don't even want to it's so tiring talking about Shaq at this point. He does the same thing every time he gets on TNT and the Knicks are playing. It's just tiring.
And
It's just
And it's
like,
so
yeah, we
stupid.
know you're gonna act like you don't like the Knicks. You're gonna act like you like the Knicks, and this is like commentary that you really believe, but you just be taking shots just for the hell of taking shots. It's like same old BS.
Like, okay, before I and it's starting, and it's not even it's mainly him with the hate too, but there's a lot of other people when it comes to Knicks, they do not take us serious, which is cool. I'm all for that. I like that. Sleep, 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 so we can wake y'all up. I'm cool with that. But it's just the fact that every before it was you the fourth seed, the fake fourth seed, you the fake fifth seed, you the now we're the third seed. So it seems like this seems like not fake. It kind of seems like we're a good team. It shows in the numbers right now that we're a good team. So
Mm-hmm.
for you to show somebody to pick somebody, say Detroit, Milwaukee, everybody else that they name is going to beat us is
Yeah,
absolutely crazy to me. That is
Detroit,
crazy.
Milwaukee is even crazier to me that they pick Milwaukee, considering what's like we've been Milwaukee, man. What what
Bruh.
Almost,
whatever.
yeah. I got I got a ooh pick too. I got a ooh pick. I meant to do it first, but I had to get Shaq out the way. My man Ja Morant with his new 3-point celebration. I don't know if
Oh, that's the
anybody
Upe?
got it. Yeah, because I feel what they doing to him is wrong. You can't pick and choose. I get what the whole situation is, but a celebration, like you can't criminalize that man for something everybody's doing on the court, and you can't tell people not to do it because that's some people's their sellies. Like they probably get paid off of these things, the emotes and things of this nature. You can't really say, oh, don't do that to everybody. And the day that he find John Morant, Shaq me or Shaq, LeBron, Pod, and like four other people had did it. About three in the same game he was in. So, so like, you can't do that. So shouts out to Ja for
I
being
agree.
creative, for being creative with the new grenade celebration. It wasn't a gun, and
It was a
I, I,
grenade.
I loved it.
Yeah, they picking on me now. They picking on him.
Mm-mm-mm. I was cracking up. I said he did the whole taking out the grenade pin with his mouth and everything. Covered his ears. They better give John an acting job. That was good. Covered the ears. He ready. He ready for the screen. But yeah, that's my oop pick.
Okay, all right. Lee, you got anything?
Upit, thank you, Casey Smith, for getting guys healthy, coming back, not getting re-injured. Love the work he's done with OGs, especially Brunson back, acclimating himself quickly. Mitchell Robinson back. Yeah, he's done a hell of a job keeping his team healthy, most healthy starting five in the NBA. Probably the starting five that plays the most minutes too. So that was one of the best. Leon's had some incredible hires across the board in key positions. Having him and Brock Aller, that's two areas, and Knicks have never been one of the best in the NBA yet in terms of capology and contracts, but also health and keeping guys from not being out for the season. Antonio Badias for all you old heads. And then also prayers to Jalen Wells, took a nasty fall, sprained his wrist, but laying on his head in the game against the Bobcats today. I still call them the Bobcats because they play like them. Yeah, I'm glad that it wasn't a super serious injury, but man, it looked pretty damn concussive from my point of view. And I'm glad that he was able to get on the stretcher and leave and eventually get tested, and just his wrist was injured, not his head. So prayers up to him anyways. Those injuries can be very long standing and affect you for the rest of your life. Bruh pick, got to, man. First one. Phoenix Suns are such an ass crack organization.
Bruh.
Like, bruh, you look at that roster. I actually thought they made some good moves. Thought the Tyus Jones picked up on the 1 year deal for I single like 9 million, 8 million was solid. Did Nick Richards, I thought was a really good deal. I was like, oh, this actually balances out their roster. Getting rid of ass crack Nurkic. Great. They should never trade Aiton for Nurkic. That was one of the worst moves of the last 5 years. Not Luka level. That was a horrible move. Aiton is so skilled. You should have got more. Nurkic, I don't get it, man. Maybe it was a salary dump, but it wasn't. That was actually wanting him as their center. Awful move, and they're getting beat by 34 right now to the Golden State Warriors. They're such a and I watch them out. They're so bad. I think they're like the ninth seed, right above, um, Mavs or right under the Mavs. It's like, damn, all that talent, and you can't be a consistent playoff team. Bud really out here about to get fired again after 1 year. That is incredible carousel of championship coaches between him and Vogel getting fired after a year is wild. And then the tariffs. Hilarious. All the trash that Matter loves to talk. All my Matter friends have been very quiet lately. I didn't no text on my phone, no phone calls, no one trying to roast me, no one trying to argue with me, no one saying nothing. It's very quiet out there because the economy's starting to get real scary hours. I looked at all the markets crashing and dropping, major companies cutting jobs, announcing layoffs. I saw some hilarious memes that China made about fat ass Americans in sweatshops making Nikes. Like these are the
Yeah, I saw
manufacturing
that
jobs
too.
you want. That is absolutely hilarious
Yeah.
roasting from China. And I also saw one of like Donald Trump in a denim outfit making a pair of Levi's. I was like, oh man, I almost sent to my pops, but I'm really trying not to be so antagonistic with him. So I did not send it to him. So, anyways, yeah, hilarious. MAGA, the entirety of MAGA, just being quiet and not staying on business when your president makes an absolutely dumbass decision.
Yeah.
Boom.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say it. I was the me. I didn't say it this time, guy.
It was me.
By the way, if you have some money, Nvidia, get that. All right, get that because tax return time. Get some Nvidia. All right. Oh man. Yeah. Bro, all that the tariffs, crack tariffs for sure.
Bruh.
Bruh.
Ass crack tariffs. Damn, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Ass crab use of Nurkic and ass crab tariffs.
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, I understood. I understood why they did the thing with. I know we've talked about tariffs, but I understood why they did the thing with what's the Nurkic and Aiton. It was the issues with Monty. I know that, and they needed a big that didn't need the ball as much.
They didn't want, and Aiton wanted his money, and they didn't want to give it to him because he wasn't worth it.
I understand that. I'm just saying Nurkic of all targets.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, he had a lot of people fooled. A lot of people, including a lot of people in our fan base.
Yeah, I remember.
I've heard his name a lot. Yeah.
I was like, stay away from my team, mate.
Yeah,
Please.
me too. Never
Please,
wanted him.
please.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, never, not never.
Yeah, my bro pick was when the Knicks team let the Celtics get a layup because they were discussing coverages. All the while they wasn't covering shit.
Bruh.
Nobody. That was embarrassing.
Bridges, man.
Yeah, that's my bro today.
That's good. That's a good one, bro. That's a good one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah.
You know what else we got? We got the legendary Dexter Henry coming on Thursday.
Oh, hell yeah. My dog.
Knicks, Pistons. Be there or be square. Some would say this is a first round matchup. Who knows? I know I want to put this game away though, because the Pacers are breathing out our butt, and I want to clinch that third spot. It would be nice to do it while silencing some critics and beating the Detroit Pistons next game. So let's do that and start to put these guys to bed and get this game versus the Pistons. All right.
Yep.
All right, yo. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Ebony, let them know where they can find you.
You can find me here after Knick games. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram at Mad Knick Fan. Do the pregame at Your Take, called Your Take Knicks on Twitter space. It's a Twitter space, sorry. And WNBA space, we do Bowling with the Queens, where we cover the Liberty after every Liberty game. That's
what's up. Let them know where they can find you, sir.
Don't follow me on Twitter. Instead, follow my main man, my primo, Phil Porto. Go follow him at Phil_all_caps. Phil Porto, the host of the Knicks Late Night Cap. I heard he's got over 100-year-old whiskey he's going to be saying for the playoffs.
Ooh.
And uncorking it for that first round playoff series. Go follow my man, Phil, man. Great takes, great show. Most importantly, great guy. One of the brothers here at KOT. We love that dude. Go follow him on Twitter.
All right.
My God, Phil. I wish I could taste that whiskey through the computer.
Yo.
That sounds like something.
We all love Phil, man.
Facts. Yo, Prezi said, told me, hey, yo, nigga, time, get on that Devil May Cry on Netflix. My sister told me to get on that too. Actually, she's look crazy. It looked kind of like cheesy crazy, maybe like Deadpoolish. So I'm gonna check it out, give it a shot. I just finished Solo Leveling, which was pretty good. Ended with a bang. So Solo Leveling on Crunchyroll. Thought it was pretty good. If entertaining from start to finish. I'll get on that Devil May Cry on Netflix. And if you guys don't know, I usually be talking about anime at the end of the shows. So that's why he's giving me an anime show to check out. So I'll check that out. All right, yo. That's the show. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to TikTok Land. I see you, Sports Dynamics on TikTok Land. Thanks for watching. We're here after every game. So if you want to check us out, come to the next show. And as soon as I shout him out, he leaves. That's cool. Shout out to everybody on YouTube as well. Phil Porto, Lee, JT Reddick, Nick Yak, Ed Parker, David Smith, the #1 cat fan in the building. I see you. Nice, Anna Grill, the Predicate, everybody else rocking with the KLT show. Appreciate you guys' support. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you next show. All right. That is the show. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of this mug. Peace.
New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.